Greetings all and welcome to Dave's Craft Room. On today's video, I have a huge announcement. This pattern is the Kinship 100 Blocks Fusion Sampler by Gnome Angel. This is the pattern that we're using for this year's 100 Blocks, 100 Days challenge, which we are participating in. Actually, by the time this video comes out, you should already be able to see all the blocks that I'm gonna make on my Instagram. So make sure you check out Dave's Craft Room on Instagram. Yeah, we're gonna do it. This is very exciting because this pattern is gorgeous. I had the pattern printed in this booklet so that it would look very chic and quiche. I think I'm gonna you can do whatever you want for the challenge, like in terms of making your quilt. You can do sashing or you don't have to. You can do whatever layout you want. You can put the blocks in any order you want. And it comes with two different layouts, the kitchen sink and Beck's version. And I think I like the kitchen sink. Here is the assembly diagram, but then the one on the front has sashing between it. I think I'm gonna do sashing. Actually, I shouldn't say that because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it as I go. It's a journey. To participate, you're not required to do like one block, one day, each day. Because people have jobs, you know what I mean? I have a job, I don't feel like sewing every day. If you just kind of try to keep up, you can work ahead, or if you fall behind, you can catch up, and it's fine. I want to do a lot of fussy cutting, because I have so much fabric that I want to showcase. I plan to do a lot of fussy cutting. I plan to do some extra stuff. Maybe I'll do some weird applique stuff on top of the blocks, or as part of the fabric that I sew into the blocks. I don't know. It's gonna be stunning, that's all I can tell you. Here's the first block. Let's get started. Let's make the first block. So look, this is the first block. The first block contains a big piece right there, and now we have to select a fabric that's gonna go in there and be showcased. Because it's such a big piece, it has to be perfect, you know what I mean? I have to get the right one for that because it's going to be showcased. It's going to be number one. It's going to be on Dave's Craft Room Instagram page, the number one block. But there's nothing to it but to do it. Let's pull some fabrics and see what we can do. So we have a pile here. This is my secret tip for a pile. I also pulled a couple of random patches. This is my secret tip for a pile. March Madness, okay? That's a sports ball reference. Because it's hard to pick one you like out of a huge pile. Just do two and decide which you like the better of the two. For example, I like cats better than citrus fruits. I have a second special tip. We need a window. This is our window. That way I can look like this. Ooh, that's cool. What if I did that and I put a Nacho Business truck in it? This might be a winner, honestly, right off the bat. I'm gonna struggle to see anything better. Yeah, none of these are gonna be as good. So they're going into the pile to use for a different block. This is it. We need to sew our patch on. I don't want it to look like it's floating. I want it to be in the foreground there. This is an iron-on patch. With iron-on patches, I always think the iron-on is more like basting because the iron-on feature will not stick forever. I iron it on from the back. That's good. That's actually on there pretty good. I'm gonna let it cool down, otherwise the melted glue could gum up the needle. there we have our first block. So the next thing we need to do is take a picture of it and post it on IG. And there we have it. Stunning. I love it. I love the nacho quilt block. So I'm gonna make the rest of the blocks, guys. I have big plans. I have loads of fabric. I'll film some, I'll film off and on, and then I'll do probably like a slideshow or a montage of all the blocks.
For my blocks, I tried to do something interesting and creative for each one. I wanted each block to tell a story when I posted it on Instagram.
Alright guys, it's time for an update. We are halfway done. These are blocks 1 through 50. I have had the best time ever making these blocks, and the people on Instagram seem to love them, which makes me very, very happy. And it occurred to me that it's gonna be better if I work on sewing them together as I go along rather than put it all off to the end. That way I'm doing some of the work all along instead of you know what I mean, all the way at the end. So that's what we're gonna do. There's a little bit of a problem, which is they're all slightly different size, and I don't want to trim them. I square them up so they're perfectly square, or I'm going to square them up, but I don't want to trim them because I'm worried about cutting off like points and all that. And so what is the solution? The solution is sashing. I want 1.5 inch, no, I want 1 inch. I want 1 inch sashing between each block, black sashing. So ordinarily I would cut 1.5 inches. Instead I'm gonna cut 2 inches. That way we have a little bit of wiggle room. So what I'm gonna do is sew 2 inches of sashing to two sides, and then I'm going to trim the block down to 9 3/4 inches, or sorry, 5 3/4 inches for the short blocks, and 9 3/4 by 9 3/4 for the square blocks. So that's what I'm gonna do. That's my hack for hiding the fact that they're all slightly different, and I'm gonna do that now.
I used so many different types of fabric in these blocks, and I pieced them over a long stretch, so that's why they're slightly inconsistent in size. But the variation is only about 1/4 of an inch, and when I used the sashing to make up for it, you really can't even tell in the final quilt. I could have chosen any layout, but I decided early that I liked the idea of having each block in order from 1 to 100 in the order I made it, so that's essentially what determined the layout. I took fabric from every different source for this quilt, mostly from my Mount Scrapmore bin. There's flannel, muslin, cotton and polyester, t-shirt, jersey, corduroy, organza, denim, silk. I cut up COVID masks that were retired, neckties, gabardine, there's patches. It's basically a tour of my scrap pile and all the quilts I've made previously. Wherever it was necessary, I sewed the fabric onto a foundation fabric or else ironed on an interfacing so that it would be stable in the final quilt. I sometimes used a washable glue stick to baste appliques on, and then I sewed around the edges and the glue washes out after. If you like any of my blocks, be sure to check out my Instagram page where I posted them along with the backstory for almost every block. This is the block that broke my brain, and what you're seeing is actually my second attempt after the first try failed. I wanted to make it look like the dragon was weaving in and out of the piecing of the block, and I was very pleased with the final result. There's a tail sticking out over the edge, and that will get appliqued down to the sashing. I made 2 blocks out of neckties. One was the Godzilla tie, where I also used the label and the keeper loop on the back, and the other one was made out of the tie I bought for my senior class photo almost 15 years ago. I was very happy to get rid of it. That block, along with all the other blocks that include mementos and souvenirs and so forth, inspired the name of this quilt. Take from the past, don't let the past take from you.
You guys, this is incredible. This is the first time that all 100 blocks are on the design wall. Or, that's a lie because there's 20 of them over here, but. So this is the all 100 blocks. I think when I sew it all up, I might be able to get it on. That was a lot, you guys. That was 100 blocks. And I'm done. I love it. I put hold on. I put so much into each block. I wanted each block to be a work of art or represent something or, have some kind of story to tell and all that. So I put a lot into each of these blocks, and it is so stunning to see them all together in one place for the first time. Like, holy crap. But we're not done. We need to sew it up. Let's get it done. Let's sew it up.
Once I have my quilt sandwiched together, I set up my machine for free motion quilting. I like to move my machine out of the corner so I have more room to maneuver the quilt around, and then I put on the free motion foot. I do a little bit of free motion quilting on each block, mostly stitching in the ditch. So that's it. This is the final result, and I love it. It's perfect. So thank you for coming along on the journey, and please come again.